Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson, and we're listening to a 2020 Black Widow. Understand how people could look at this and think there's something not right there. Stacy tries to find his husband dead in their bedroom, married by suicide. Very rarely does anybody commit suicide, and when you find a body naked, oh no, start running the lab tests. The fact that her first husband died 5 years prior to that, and children like mine were buried right next to each other. Take him up. Guess what I found? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. My god, you lost two husbands from poisoning. What was Stacy like as a child? Very inquisitive, not afraid of anything, always asking questions. Was asking why? Yes, she was only allowed 3 whys a day sometimes. I know I was very stubborn and headstrong even as a kid, so my mom had her work cut out. And because was never an answer. She'd tell you it's not an answer, Mom. Why? Because I wanted to know why. And because I said so, that's not an answer. Do you find yourself asking why? Even today? Oh, absolutely. Especially today. Because I don't understand how my life became what it is today. This whole story begins with a call to 911, August 22nd, 2005. It's a call involving the husband. And on that phone is a frantic wife. Her name is Stacy Castor. And she tells the operator the other line her husband has not come out of his bedroom really all weekend long. Stacy Castor, who was staying in her husband, David Castor, locked himself in the bedroom. Over the course of the weekend, he had been drinking, he wasn't acting right. Has he ever mentioned hurting himself or harming himself or Friday night when we were arguing? He told me to get out and I said to get out, I just leave and then if I just leave with you, if I want to make me sorry, I'd be sorry if I had left him. Yeah, and she called 911. Had deputies respond and see what's going on. Detective Don Spinelli was the lead investigator on this. When I arrived, I recall Stacy outside. She was pretty visibly upset. One of the things Stacy was concerned about was that David had a shotgun in his back, and she was worried that he might commit suicide. Deputy moved entered the residence, and the bedroom door was locked. I bang on the door, don't get any response. I kicked the door in, walked into the bedroom, and I observed David lying on his stomach across the bed. It was really incredible scene. They find David Castor, husband, on the bed, no clothes on. Instead, Stacy Castor had said on that phone that she was worried about what her husband might have done to himself. She asked me if he was okay. And I said, all I said is, no, he's not. They come back out. And at this point, she was screaming, have him come back. He's not dead. He's not dead. Stacy was just crying a lot. I mean, distraught, physically upset. You could see that she was struggling with her emotions. The whole thing was very tragic. Very. When police first answered that 911 call and find David Castor naked, dead in his bedroom, their first question is, who was David Castor? David was very conscientious, very work-driven, very into outdoors, and snowmobiles and four-wheelers and a boat. David was support and strength and security to me. David Castor was Stacy Castor's second husband, her knight in shining armor. He has a business, a heating and air conditioning company. Stacy Castor was typical Syracuse, New York woman, like so many of us. She has two daughters, Ashley and Bree, who are teenagers from a previous marriage. And he was married once before too, and has a grown son, David Jr. For both David and Stacy, this was their second chance at happiness, and their friends were really rooting for them. Stacy felt like a princess. Stacy felt this was a fairy tale. You know, she was loved, she was treated like a lady. You fell in love with him? Yes. And you decided to get married? Yes. And how did the girls feel about that? They weren't happy about it. Why weren't they happy? They didn't want their father replaced. At first, we really didn't like him. He said he didn't want to be our father, and he didn't want any part of being a father. He already had his kids, and he didn't want more. So there was tension. There was, but half the time it was brought on by him. David was difficult with the kids. He expected them to do everything that he said without question. And being my children, they questioned everything. But David and I had a very good relationship. There wasn't fighting. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage, and we had our share of issues that we dealt with. And obviously, being a blended family, it made that much more to have to deal with. August 2005, David wanted to go on vacation with Stacy alone to celebrate their anniversary. He was close to shop the last 2 weeks of August and took vacation. And he wanted to go on a pretty extensive trip. And he kind of waited to the last minute to decide that. And Ashley obviously wouldn't be able to go because she was working and couldn't take the time off of work. And I didn't want to leave Bree home alone for 2 weeks. And yes, there was an argument about that. It got pretty bad. Stacy says they had a 7-hour argument in the garage. According to Stacy, Dave got upset, took the bottle of Southern Comfort, went into the bedroom and locked himself in, and reportedly got drunk, wouldn't come out. I encouraged her to come over because she was just, so distraught the entire weekend. She made the assumption, she told me that he was either sleeping it off because he'd been inebriated the whole weekend or was simply sleeping. She kept going over there, check on him. She said she'd wear an ear up to the door. She heard him snoring. So she knew he was in there sleeping. But he wasn't sleeping. He was actually in the process of dying that weekend. On the nightstand next to the bed was a short glass, half full of a green liquid. Another glass that had some remnants of some juice, an apricot brandy bottle, there was a cranberry juice bottle there too. And then underneath the bed there was a bottle of antifreeze that was on its side with the top off. I remember standing in the kitchen and speaking with a woman in the sheriff's office. I observed turkey mixture lying in the garbage can. And I noticed that it's got droplets inside. So I pick it up and I pull a rubber ball off it and I smell it and I can smell alcohol in it. And I was been drinking. The alcohol was involved. The antifreeze was involved. People have committed suicide in the past by drinking antifreeze. It's not a pleasant way to go. They thought that this idea, this notion of suicide, was really quite possible until the wife had told them, Stacy Castor. Stacy had told me that David had been depressed because he had recently lost his father, and that possibly his drinking and suicide that weekend was as a result of him being depressed about his father's death. So at this point, you have Stacy Castor, who is a grieving widow, seemingly trying to be strong and carry on for the sake of her two daughters. She was never told her name. She said, I have to tell you something. And I was like, what? And she's like, David killed himself. And I was like, what? Why would he kill himself? Like, I didn't know really that he was hurting like that. This case could very well have closed and ended if everyone would have thought that David Castor killed himself. This was a suicide. But for people who knew David Castor, suicide, it just didn't make sense. people inside that home went to work that day with a discovered David Castor's mother was Detective Dominic Spinelli. And when they searched that house, at first Stacy Castor said this was suicide because when they've been depressed, they discovered antifreeze, but then they discovered that turkey baster in the kitchen. And this guy from Bronx, who came up to upstate New York, became a detective in the sheriff's department, just did not sit well with him.
Things weren't adding up with Detective Spinelli. And I've interviewed him many times. I've worked with him on other cases. And this is a guy with a great instinct. He can see things that the average person doesn't see. And he's got like a sixth sense.
Don Spinelli would not let this thing go. He's just one of those guys that thinks like a cop.
I can tell you right now, very rarely does anybody commit suicide naked. When you find a body naked, oh no, start running the lab tests.
We started sending in the physical evidence, the antifreeze bottle, the apricot brandy bottle, the glasses, to see if there was any fingerprints or DNA evidence on those items, and as well as the turkey baster. The first thing we got results back on was the glass with the antifreeze in it.
The glass actually had 3 fingerprints on it. They were all Stacy Castor's.
And the fingerprints in such a way that as if someone held the glass from the bottom. Could be explained, sure. Stacy may have put the glass in the cupboard that way from the dishwasher. But Stacy may have held the glass up to his mouth.
One thing that police noticed was that it seemed to be a very feminine scene. Apricot brandy is a feminine drink. Certainly diet cranberry juice is a feminine drink. Poisoning is a feminine way of committing suicide. And men like to blow their brains out. Boom, it's over.
People question, why would David Castor endure such an excruciating death? If he really wanted to kill himself, he had a shotgun right under his bed.
One of the things that jumped out at us was the turkey baster.
They send the turkey baster for testing, and lo and behold,
It turns out that there was antifreeze inside that turkey baster. One of the other puzzling things was David's DNA was on the tip of that turkey baster.
The turkey baster, there's no fingerprints on it? That's odd.
Could David have used it to continue sticking down his throat because he couldn't drink the antifreeze and tasted bad?
Suicide pains are something that I've seen in the criminal lexicon. Antifreeze is really deadly. It's loaded with 1 or 2 shot glasses full can kill a grown man.
It's a common household item that can kill silently.
It has a sweet taste to it, easily disguised in a drink.
Dying by ingesting antifreeze is a long and painful process.
The antifreeze, as the crystals begin to be deposited in your major organs, you begin to shut down. There's pain associated with kidney failure, liver failure, heart failure.
with his background in heating and air conditioning, he knew that antifreeze is a very painful death.
David's ex-wife, Janice, right off the bat started calling me, telling me that she did not believe in any way, shape, or form that David would have caused self-harm.
I told him just what kind of guy he was, and that there's no way he would commit suicide. That was so wrong, so very wrong. Then police do a little digging, and to their surprise, they find that David Castor leaves everything to his wife Stacy Castor and her 2 daughters, and nothing to his son, David Castor Jr.
I found out I was no longer my father's will. There was a new will, and then Stacy got everything. That included everything that my parents earned through their whole life.
And of course, David's first wife says, no way, there's no way that this is the actual will. Because David left something to his son.
He had campers, he had motorcycles, jet skis, snowmobiles, a house, a business, and I figured that Stacy just had made plans to take it all.
I don't even believe my name was mentioned in it. My first feelings on that were my father really did not like me. He was just pissed at me, like, why not? at will, so that way she can get it. That ends up netting her almost $50,000, which she started blowing through pretty quickly, renovating the house and almost trying to erase David from their life there. And investigators have been suspicious all along. They're starting to get even more and more suspicious of what Stacy's motives are.
I was getting phone calls from the detectives in the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department. They called me up and saying, this doesn't sit right with me. We got a dispute over here. Some people are saying, yeah, it's a suicide. Let's move on. There's another body of thought. This might be a homicide.
So here you have the death of David Casper, and everyone's asking, but what happened here? But it was more than just a punch that was needed. They really had to prove their case to go ahead and settle it once and for all to determine whether this man really committed suicide.
This might have been called too quick. We got to dig through it.
And the investigators now start focusing on how did David really die? And if it wasn't a suicide, then somebody must have killed David.
So it all starts unfolding, and it all starts to even raise more questions for this detective. He wants to interview Stacy Castor's first husband.
Has anybody interviewed that guy? No, we haven't tracked him down. Well, it turns out we can't talk to him because he's dead.
Michael Wallace was buried in a cemetery near where he and Stacy lived. And in that cemetery, it was his headstone. She had a headstone that would be for her someday. And right next to them was David's headstone. It was very odd and very peculiar.
I guess they're going to share her in the afterlife. David Castor laid to rest in this quiet cemetery, and right next to him, someone who would come to play a key role in this murder mystery. Stacy is very intelligent, and she picks up very quickly. She always wanted to be a paralegal or a lawyer, and she was taking courses in high school that she needed, and then she met Michael Wallace, her first husband. He swept her off her feet. Mike was the love of my life. I knew 5 minutes after I met him that I was going to marry him. They went together about 3 years before they got married.
And what was that wedding like?
It was at home. It wasn't small. She was as happy as she had ever been. Mike was a life and party. Mike was larger than life. If you needed something that Mike had, he would give it to you. When Michael was good, Michael was very, very good. And when Michael was bad, he was very, very bad.
We're talking about drugs?
Yes. Yes. He had a problem with both for a long time in his life. They decided to have children. Ashley is their first child. I would say that Ashley and I were best friends. Oh, I was in love. I knew from that point on being here was to take care of her. 3 years later, they would have another baby, Brie, and she would become Michael's little princess. Brie was Daddy's little angel. Brie could do no wrong in Michael's eye. Brie could walk on water. Little Lassie. There was no talk of any relationship with Ashley and Michael. Never. That's all Stacy ever talked about. Mike and Brie, Mike and Brie. I was extremely close to our second daughter. Very close.
Do you think that might have created problems for Ashley? Did she know that her father was closer to her younger sister?
Yes. I know she did. And I think someone was definitely that for her.
Could you see it as well?
Yeah. Everybody around could tell that. Could see that.
Did you think that she had harbored any ill will toward her father because of that?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
How did you feel about your dad?
I loved my dad. He was the only father that was allowed to go on Girl Scout camping trips with me. Half the reason I got most of my medals was because of him. What's your last name, sir? Stacy was working as an ambulance dispatcher, and Michael was a mechanic. He worked different shift than I did. I would work morning, she would work at 3 to 11, so I was gone all day, and he would be home with kids. So there were really barely any times when we were all together. There were things that were starting to strain that relationship. Michael had affairs before we were married, and I'm sure he did after.
I think after a while, he grew up as welcome with Stacy. After 2 years ago, Stacy had mentioned to her friends that she was contemplating divorce.
Stacy came to me right after Thanksgiving time, and she said, "Kim, I really want to leave like what I do." And I gave her the name of my attorney.
But with the holidays coming up, she doesn't think that it's a good time.
It's almost Christmas time. I don't want to upset the household before the holidays. I understand. Wait till first of the year. And then Mike got sick. That December of 1999, around the holidays, Michael Wallace was ill. He was staggering. He didn't feel well. He didn't look well. He was spending a lot of time in bed. He was having a hard time walking. He was having a hard time talking. One time he sat up and he just vomited across the coffee table and lay back down and went back to sleep like nothing ever happened. Just as people were thinking maybe he should go to the doctor, he took a turn for the worst. I came home and I called my mom to tell her that I was home. And he was leaning on the couch and he was making funny faces. Well, I thought little funny faces. I got off the phone with her and I tried to see her. And all of a sudden, he just sticks his arm up in the air and like puts her on my side and his arm is still around and my last time I didn't get my sister across the room. So I was lying down. I said, "You're here now." It was scary. He was just sitting there what I thought was fine. And he wasn't okay. By the time they got him to the hospital, and I got up there, there was 3 physicians in the ER that said he had a heart attack. When his doctor told me that they believed he died of a heart attack, I believed that. There was no reason for me to question. Even though he was 38.
Perfectly.
$50,000 life insurance policy on her first husband. She paid for the funeral expenses and then she took the girls to Disney World. And after that, it was just the 3 of them. We all used to eat dinner together, like we would laugh and joke around, like it just used to be me and my sister. Like we were all those girls. We did a lot of things together.
She claimed that he had all sorts of medical issues. We went and got his medical records. The worst thing that ever happened to him was he had hernia. And we couldn't come up with anything that showed that he had heart disease like she claimed. We decided to take a harder look at him. Michael Wallace's death. One of the incredible things, too, is that they're buried right next to each other in the cemetery right outside Super.
Yeah, it's good.
And Detective Spinelli can't get this out of his mind. He wants to know, is this guy buried 6 feet under window sill? Telltale Christians from antifreeze. Detective Spinelli is convinced that there's really only one way to find out. That's to dig him up. to exhume the body. This would be hugely controversial. Exhuming the body years later. He's very
serious? He was like, yeah. And I was like, are you serious? He was like, no. And I was like, I'm leaving.
And you know in a heartbeat he'd be running after you.
Huh?
You know in a heartbeat he'd be running after you. But the way you said it happened, I don't even like you was. So when he came up,
I couldn't keep a straight face.
you probably gave yourself away. Okay? Saying, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Yeah, right. Okay, go on, stupid. That's why when he came up and I said, Jackie, he says, so, you know, he knew it was probably a setup of some sort, so that's why he didn't say much. Okay. That's what I think.
Dude, we have to go to the gym.
Yeah, especially if you want to eat. Okay.
Like a boss, your body would be insane at all times. And I understand they're saying, boy, I hope if he was killed, I hope there's something there. So suddenly you have this dramatic scene playing out in the cemetery. They were digging up the body of Michael Wallace, who is buried right next to the second husband, David Castor. And they're exhuming the body because they want to know, will it reveal anything more about how he might have died? A few days later, I was walking through the Criminal Investigations Division and I received a phone call from the medical examiner. And he said, hey, we just got done with you. I have the results for you. And he said, guess what I found? He's loaded with crystals. When you are poisoned with anything, crystals form in your organs. And they don't ever go away. And that was one of the reasons why we exhumed him, was so that we could find out if those crystals were still there.
So when you do an autopsy on someone who ingested antifreeze, you can see the slides of various organs. It looks like a gold vein in a western mind suppressing little beautiful crystals popping up about you.
It was telltale crystals, the same crystals that we looked side by side with David Castor from the antifreeze. So that was like a big, yeah, we got her. Awesome. I knew that one had the homicide. Stacy Castor probably killed both her husbands. You really miss that moment if this investigation breaks wide open. That's what I'm saying. We need to get in here for a second interview.
Detective Spinelli and I drove out to speak to Stacy. He explained to her that, he hadn't closed out the investigation yet.
I told them we needed to close the case out one way or the other, and I need to have some questions answered.
She seemed nervous. She was pacing, and she just was surprised that we were there.
She thought this was all over and done with.
She made mention that it was like him coming from the grave, like his hand was reaching out from the grave. I remember even shooting a look at Detective Spinelli because I thought it was just an odd thing for someone to say. Your husband has died of suicide. Why would he be controlling you in any way? At our sheriff's headquarters building, we have 4 interview rooms. Spinelli set up one of the rooms, brought Stacy into that room.
I said, Stacy, there are 2 glasses sitting on the nightstand. You say that you poured him some cranberry juice at one point, right? She said yes. I said, I'm going to show you a picture of those 2 glasses. I asked Stacy, do you remember which glass it was that you poured the cranberry juice in? And she looked at him and said, well, when I poured the antifreeze, and then she stopped and said, I mean the cranberry juice.
Like she realizes what she's just said.
She actually had a Freudian slip. She said, when I was pouring the antifreeze, the cranberry juice, she said it all right there.
And I looked at her and said, well, you said antifreeze. And she said, I don't like this. You're trying to frame me. You're trying to pin this on me. I'm done. And she stopped the interview.
And she just said, that's it, I'm done, I want an attorney.
As I picked up my folder to put the picture back in it just so happened that the top picture was a picture of the judge folder and said, well, what is that? I said, what? And she said, that picture. What is that picture? Which interview? He said, why is that there? And I said, don't worry about it. The interview's over.
After police questioned Stacy Castor,
Okay.
she actually went to her daughters and said, girls, the cops think I killed David. I was like, that can't be right. You couldn't have murdered him because they issued us saying that he died of suicide.
And she said,
I know. I didn't do this.
it was apparent that Stacy was extremely nervous that went into her with her. We decided the next step would be to take wiretap Stacy's phones.
Stacy, when I was making a lot of calls, she was in distress. They think I did this.
They put up cameras outside her house so she tell them how many adults. They have a camera at the cemetery to see if Stacy's ever visiting their grave sites.
She hears that her first husband's body has been exhumed. She wants to go see it for herself, so she goes to the burial site, sees that it's true. His body has been exhumed. She calls someone up on the phone and wants folks that we had Jim Michael's body.
And I don't believe it. 1 second to say something. I don't believe it.
I recall Stacy saying something along his own. They did it. They actually did it. They did it. Why they did that?
She tells me they exhumed your father's body. And I didn't believe it, so I went out and checked. I started crying. I got upset. Like, he was resting peacefully and they just dug him up. Why would they dig up Daddy? I thought it was inhumane and I didn't like it whatsoever. Ashley has just graduated from high school and she's just entering college when she gets this news. I was at school, was it her first day of college, all excited.
Two investigators show up and deliver her the news that her father didn't die of a heart attack. He died of antifreeze poisoning.
I was like, then you're lying because I knew that my dad had a heart attack. That's how it was. He had a heart attack. I left and I called my mom. Mommy, they can't use my freaking pool. They can't use your pool. Are you okay? I'm gonna be okay, but I'm really freaking out right now.
She is in disbelief, first of all. Her father didn't die of that heart attack, that he was murdered. And that they come to her school and they've revealed this to her, and you can hear it in her voice as she's talking to her mother.
Oh my God. That bastard came to your school.
And you can hear it in her mother's voice too, this disbelief that they've come to the school, that they told her daughter this. And then Stacy Castor, the mom, has the suggestion. You know what? This is all too heavy. Why don't we drink? Why don't we have a drink?
This has been a rough week. It's been really horrible for us with everything going on. Let's just drink.
Has she ever done that before?
Not once.
And she says,
Had a rough week. Let's just get drunk.
and you thought,
I was like, cool. You know? What kind of teenager would think that was awesome? Parents just gave me permission to drink. Sweet.
Stacy mixes this rum and 12 ounce plastic cup. Ashley, caught up in the moment. This is so cool. This is neat. I want to make my mom happy. She drinks it and becomes, lethargic and eventually passes out and winds up in the bedroom.
she wakes up, got a little hangover, goes back to school, comes back. Mom again says, let's drink. This time, let's get really drunk. And this time, Ashley says, Mom, it's not even real yet. And she says, oh, it'll be real by the time we're drinking. But this wasn't just the second day of mother and daughter drinking. This was actually the scene that would now lead to the second phone call to 911 from Stacy Castor about an emergency playing out in her home.
Another thing. Dear Dad, this time. I should have done some before. I'm already and everything. Ashley. Here we go. wasn't talking. She looked petrified.
Her eyes are wide open, but she's not seeing anything. Ashley is in distress.
Ashley was laying there. No, she wasn't like responding to anything. She looked scared.
Did you think that you were losing her?
I did.
Maybe hysterical. Stacy.
She came flying out of her room into Ashley's room.
I was crazy with panic. And, my God, this is my baby. What's going on? Is she okay? One of the hardest things I've ever seen. You see her like that. I was in complete shock and panic. I called 911.
How old is your daughter? 20. She's watching. Yeah, she's making noise. Is she breathing normally? No. An entire bottle of vodka. Ashley.
Stacy relayed to the dispatcher that Ashley had consumed alcohol and quite a few doses of medications.
Whatever has happened to Ashley involves a bottle of vodka and a mixture of prescription pills.
While Stacy is on 911, Reese sees a piece of paper in Ashley's room and starts to read it. She hands it to her mother.
I said, you have to read this. And she said, what do I have to read? And she took it from me. And she was like, oh my God. She left the letter. She left the letter. Left the letter. Oh my God, this is not happening.
She really wanted the 911 call taker to know that there was a suicide note.
I said, I'm sorry that I had to do this, but now everyone will know the truth and they won't blame you, they'll blame me.
You thought that this was a suicide note. You're thinking Ashley tried to kill herself.
Yeah.
When I arrived at the house, the ambulance was parked up front. There was a stretcher coming out of the residence. My sergeant came over to me and handed me a typewritten letter. And as I'm reading the note, I'm realizing that it's a confession and a suicide note all in one.
Mommy, remember I love you more than anything. And I did it for you and for us. Please forgive me, Mommy. Please don't hate me. Remember I love you.
At the end, you can see her name, Ashley. Here's the thing about the letter. The letter was typewritten. 750 words.
Even the signature is typed. There's no handwritten component whatsoever.
This note actually says, Mommy, police think it's you, but it was really me.
I killed my dad. I killed my stepdad. And under the pressure of all this, I'm now killing myself. I'm so sorry that I've done all this.
She repeatedly calls Stacy Castor Mommy. And that is such a term of endearment. I think everybody was wondering, is it possible that a child could have committed two perfect crimes and gotten away with killing her father and her stepfather? So we really didn't know what we had. Ashley's dying. She was raced to the hospital.
They feel Ashley and she's catatonic. They're monitored vitals. Her heart rate is going through the roof. Her heart was beating 170, 190 times a minute. It was very dramatic. When her vitals plummeted, the hospital was afraid she was going to take a bad turn, possibly die. She had quote-unquote of drugs in her system. I was told later she was 15 minutes from death. If she had not been found, and if her heart did the same thing at home that it did here, she would have expired at home.
Police all over the place, and they were running with her. I got to see her briefly.
What was the last thing you said to your daughter?
I told her that I loved her. It was the last thing I got to say to her. She said the last thing she got to say to her daughter was, I love you. Quite the send-off, right? It didn't work out.
Do you understand how people could look at this and think that there's something that might be wrong? Stacy Castor found her husband dead with a deadly nervous suicide.
Very rarely does anybody commit suicide and when you find a body naked, oh no, start running the laptops.
The fact that her first husband died 5 years prior to that, and children of mine were buried right next to each other. Take them up. Guess what I found?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
That's when we knew this was Mother Else's daughter.
Ashley was in the hospital. She was in intensive care. They weren't sure she was going to live.
It was several hours for Ashley to work through whatever she had ingested and start to come out of it.
I can't really see anybody's faces, tunnel vision. All I could see was this big guy in his red shirt. He's yelling at me, how many pills did you take?
She starts to respond, and I flat out ask her, did you try to kill yourself? And she looks at me, and she had no clue that any of this had taken place.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't do any of these things that you're saying that I did. I laid down to take a nap, and I wake up to this guy yelling at me.
They told her then there was a suicide note indicating that she had killed her father and her stepfather. She looked at me really wide-eyed and flat out says, I did not try to kill myself, nor did I leave any suicide note.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You didn't write the note.
I didn't write the note.
I don't like your talking. I was just having a drink with my mother.
That day she had called her mother and said to her that she didn't know she was going to be around for her 21st birthday, so they should celebrate. And she remembered that the drink did not taste very good. And her mom got her a straw. They told her to put the straw in the back of her throat and to just drink it. And she said she did what her mother told her. And then she was tired after she drank it and went and lay down. And she didn't remember anything until she woke up the next day in the hospital.
They showed me a copy of the suicide note that Ashley had left. As I reviewed it, one of the things that jumped out at me, it was unbelievable, was I had it from Stacy during my interview time. She called antifreeze anti-free.
I said antifreeze with a Z on the end. Coincidentally, in her daughter Ashley's suicide note, Ashley refers to killing her father with antifreeze and a Z. Now that's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
Reading that note was even more convincing to me that Stacy was somehow involved and responsible for what was going on early with her daughter Ashley.
She knew that we were closing in on her. What I did not anticipate and what nobody else anticipated was that she would attempt to kill her daughter and frame her for 2 murders. I am literally sick to my stomach. I just can't believe it.
At what point did you think my mother tried to kill me?
From the moment I woke up and everybody was asking me questions, I just knew.
It all came together.
When the detective was asking me what happened, what I did, I just knew.
That was really overwhelming. By the time she wakes up from being in the hospital, like this is 24 hours that she's being hit with all of this information. It was a disbelief that how could my mom do this to me? Why would my mother do this to me? How could this be possible?
When Stacy got to the hospital, she desperately wanted to see Ashley, but we kept her away because at that point we thought that she was responsible for poisoning her daughter. We had lied to Stacy and told her that she was being attended to by the medical personnel and she was in dire straits and they weren't allowing anybody in the room. Stacy got really upset and demanded to see her daughter because she was the mother.
I got to see her briefly.
And what was going through your mind?
I was very concerned, not knowing if she was going to be okay, if she was going to recover. It was very difficult. She comes into the room and she's standing next to my bed and she's touching my hair. And I look up and I remember seeing a police officer standing right next to her. She said to me something like, I'm sorry, I love you. And then she just left.
We finally decided that we have a woman who has killed 2 people and tried to kill a third walking around the boat. We can't let her act again.
I gave the direction that she be placed under arrest for the murder of David Castor, the attempted murder of Ashley Williams.
We made the conscious decision to arrest her right there in the property of the hospital. She was outside smoking a cigarette, and we walked up to her and told her that she was under arrest.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't believe that this man had just said that they were terrified. I just couldn't believe that was happening.
Do you understand how people could look at this and think, there's something not right here, that it doesn't add up?
Sure. I can see that.
And how do you explain it?
I'm not the person you have to ask that question to because I can't explain it.
Normally, this channel lies on Friday night in September. We're all about high school football. That night, the lead story was this arrest. But a Liverpool woman tonight is charged with killing her husband, and investigators say it appears this is not the first time. This is how we tell public safety issue. And that forced our hand today to arrest her.
Everybody was in shock. It was almost like reading a movie script. And not only is she suspected of killing two husbands, but trying to pin the murder of her husband on her daughter, her own daughter. I believe the old adage is true. There is nothing more powerful than a mother's love, except for Stacy Castro. By killing Ashley and faking a suicide note, she would have walked scot-free.
Tonight, details of a story that seems to get more twisted with each turn of the investigation.
They were blaming Stacy for this. I kind of went hysterical. I cannot believe Stacy has it in her to kill two men, especially men she's supposed to love, and then frame her own daughter. Right. That's why I do not believe Stacy did it. She would not frame Ashley.
In that moment, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I think most people would think, what an impossible choice that would be for any grandmother, to have to choose between her granddaughter, daughter. But she did, right there in front of me. It sounds to me as though you're convinced it was your granddaughter.
I am.
No question.
No question.
Your mother asked you, did you murder your husband?
She did. She asked me that question. And no, I didn't. It may be easier for people to decide that I did it because I'm the mother and I'm 40 years old. But kids deal with things like that. All you have to do is turn on the paper. There are children that kill children and other people every single day. It happens.
That was a remarkable moment. When I sat across from Stacy Castro, I said, if you're telling me that you didn't do it, that can only mean someone else did. Your daughter. She said that you realize that if Stacy Castro is willing to murder here, she's willing to pay us off for her daughter.
Stacy Castro charged with poisoning one husband to death, trying to do the same with her daughter.
Castro is trying to second-degree murder.
Everyone was talking about me. You could go to the grocery store, you could go to the hair salon, and people come up to me and ask me, wait a minute, who's been arrested and accused of killing her second husband, suspected of killing her first husband, and then pinning the deaths on her daughter by trying to kill her? Everyone's asking, well, what happened here? There were some who wanted the police to look at not Stacy Castro, but there was another person that they should look at. There's really only one other violent suspect, the common link between Michael Wallace and David Castro. That's Ashley, the daughter.
And Stacy and her defense team alleged that it had been Ashley that killed David and killed her father, Michael.
2007, Stacy Castro contacts a defense attorney, Chuck Keller.
I ran to my investigator, Gabe Ramos, and the guy said, let's get out there and see what's going on. Chuck was a fairly new attorney, but very competent, very thorough. He goes to work and never stops defending Stacy.
We have photographs, forensics, toxicology reports, fingerprints, the DNA.
Casey Wallace's fingerprints are nowhere to be seen on any of the items tested. And whoever killed David had to have handled these items. This was a prosecutor who loves forensic evidence dream. DNA evidence and forensic linguistic analysis, which is, who wrote the note. Plus, she's a pretty rotten human being. I want to make sure she's convicted.
So we had been given this remarkable access to both D.A. Fitzpatrick and his team, and to Chuck Keller and the team working with him to try to defend Stacy Castor. And remember, for this defense team and this young defense attorney, what he has to do is come up with reasonable doubt. He really just needs one juror to think that it's possible that Ashley could have done this.
We were looking for evidence of the accusations against Stacy.
So they begin hunting. They go to the home.
I think we looked at out of every drawer, every dresser, everywhere in the basement. You can compare the style of writing, the way they spell certain words, misspell certain words. We found several letters, and we said, these are written by Ashley. One of them actually discussed suicide. We thought, holy cow, this can't be a small thing.
They find a letter written to one of Ashley's boyfriends after they had broken up. She's distraught, and she says she's considering taking her own life. And they point to that letter to say, see, she was unstable, she was unhappy, and she was contemplating committing suicide.
After my dad died, I used to think about what would happen if I died. I almost tried to do it twice. That letter became a crucial piece of evidence because Ashley had told investigators that she had never contemplated suicide. Ashley was kind of jealous of her younger sister, Bree. The dad favored Bree. When David Castor came along, he came in trying to be a disciplinarian, and Ashley may have resented that.
Somebody stepping back might say, okay, Ashley didn't get along with her stepfather, and here's a way to get rid of them.
As we looked into Ashley's background with David and Michael, every witness we talked to had something to contribute. They all pointed in the same direction that Ashley was absolutely capable and it was possible that she had done this. Mike and Danny Coleman were friends of Stacy. They knew Ashley her entire life. The Colemans believed that Ashley was the bad guy in this situation.
I think that because I could see how she can flip her temper very quickly.
In my mind, my God, it makes more sense that she could have done it as opposed to Stacy. Ashley had ample time, ample opportunity, and I don't like to say that because I love that granddaughter as much as anybody else in the family. Ashley needs help if she didn't. She should have gotten help. That maybe when her father died.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and ask yourself, maybe there's something I'm not putting together?
Oh, yes.
That maybe I'm wrong.
I could be. But do I think I am? No.
If you are wrong, what will you say to Ashley?
I will apologize to her until the day I die. Statistics show that murdering your parent is very, very rare. But it does happen.
But to be convinced that her granddaughter did this, that Ashley did this, you'd have to believe that Ashley killed her father when she was just a little girl. It was either Stacy or it was Ashley. And it was going to be up to a jury to decide which one of them actually killed these two men. Prosecutors have a mountain of physical and forensic evidence, and for the defense, if they can just get these jurors to have questions about maybe Ashley could have done it, then they can get enough guilty.
I'm not guilty, and we're going to prove that. The evidence will show that I am innocent. And I will go home.
Trial of Stacy Castor is now underway.
Castor faces 25 years to life. The witness list could be as many as 160 people.
The first witnesses will take the stand tomorrow.
January 2009,
The dead of winter. I remember it being brutally cold. Meanwhile, you had this really
this surreal and almost unbelievable story of a mom who may have tried to kill her daughter to cover up killing two of her husbands.
You have something that's very, very rare. A mother versus her blood daughter.
You're going to have a grandmother who believes granddaughter did it. You also had David Casper Jr., who has lost his father, and David Jr.'s mom, David's first wife. All right.
We had really three cases that we were presenting to a jury. We had the death of David Castor, we had the attempted murder of Ashley Wallace, and we were allowed to present evidence about the death of Michael Wallace as well.
You will have no choice but to stand up and shout, Mrs. Castor, you are a murderer, and for that you will pay.
D.A. Bill Fitzpatrick is a bulldog. Once he sinks his teeth into something, he doesn't let go.
Chuck Keller is trying his first murder case, and he's going to have to deal with the cross-examination of his client's daughter, who's going to sit there and say, she did this to me. That's not an easy spot for a defense lawyer to be in. You will decide that the wrong person is sitting in that chair. DA has taken the bold move to put the daughter Ashley on the stand as the first witness.
He starts off by establishing her as somebody the jury likes, as really a tender-hearted teen girl.
I want to ask you about the day your dad died.
Here's this 20-year-old remembering what it was like to see her father lying on the couch and essentially dying in front of her eyes.
I saw him take and lift his arm up, and then he made a breath, and then he didn't move again after that. So I thought he was just sleeping.
As she tells her story, he slowly leads her to the moment she takes a swallow of the drink offered to her by her mother.
She came home and she was like, let's get drunk. Let's get just totally drunk.
Police believe that the first round of drinking was a test run to just see how it goes, sort it out, but that the second time, Stacy actually puts pills into the drink.
And she handed me a cup and she had a cup. And she told me to keep stirring in the cup.
And what happened next?
I took a drink of it.
And
It tasted horrible.
what did you say?
And I was like, Mom, this doesn't taste good. And she's like, there's probably too much vodka in it. And so she took it and went back in the kitchen, but she brought it back and the cup was full.
Did you continue to drink it?
Yes.
Now, Ashley, I want you to explain to the jury, if the cup tasted bad and you didn't enjoy it, why would you drink it?
Because I trusted her.
I think any daughter trusts her mother. You're my mom. You love me. Why would you hurt me?
Next, Mr. Fitzpatrick moves on to the suicide note. Stacy Castor clearly hoped her daughter would be dead. This, in her mind, was her way out, and she was trying to use the death of her daughter and a fake suicide note to basically clear herself from the investigation.
What's the next thing you remember?
Waking up in the hospital with a detective asking me what I did. What did you drink? What did you do? What did you take? What did you write in that note? But I didn't know what he was talking about because I didn't write a note and I didn't take anything.
Have you seen it before?
Never.
Have you ever read this note?
No.
Right? This note?
No.
You're absolutely certain.
I'm 100% positive that I did not write that note.
Did you poison your father with antifreeze?
No, I did not.
And did you poison your stepfather with antifreeze in 2005?
No, I did not.
Everybody in that courtroom was looking to see if there would be any kind of exchange between mother and daughter, and we really never saw Stacy Castor make eye contact with her daughter. She sat there stoically, without emotion.
I can't imagine my own flesh and blood is 50 feet away from me, saying that you tried to kill me and not having a reaction to that.
All right, Chuck, rise from the audition. Thank you.
Now it's our turn. We get a chance to finally ask questions of this person.
All right, so next thing you know, You wake up in the hospital the next day, right?
Right.
Chuck Keller's in a tough spot. Ashley's young, he's been emotional, and yet his job is to show she's fine. So he's got to go after her to some degree, but without alienating the jury.
Want to know questions about what happened with David? Want to know about with Michael, whether or not the fact that Michael Wallace considered Bree to be his princess, his nickname, his way of being her bothered her. Did it bother you at all that your sister had a nickname from your father as a princess and you didn't? You didn't think that was a little bit unfair?
The defense is presenting a motive for Ashley who does. Angry at her father for not being the favorite child and the way she was treated growing up. Angry at stepfather for disrupting the life that mom and two sisters had developed together. And then he moves on to that suicide.
We asked him, point blank, did you write the note? Is it possible you wrote this note? You wrote a suicide note before, didn't you?
I wrote a note to an ex-boyfriend.
And inside this note, we discussed 2 prior suicide attempts, right?
Yes.
When she wakes up in the hospital and she's asked, did you try to kill yourself? No. Have you ever tried to kill yourself? No. Well, that's a lie.
The biggest bombshell today was a letter that he says Ashley Wallace wrote to a prior boyfriend describing 2 prior suicide attempts.
Keller, in his valiant defense of Stacy Castor, questioned Ashley repeatedly about motive for murder, but Ashley was ready for him, and it all fell flat.
He's having real trouble portraying her as someone who wanted to kill her father and then her stepfather and then herself. 4 weeks of the trial.
Over 50 witnesses in the case, clues of the crime
scene worthy of Sherlock Holmes.
the turkey baster that had David Castor's DNA on it, the suicide note, the autopsy results for David Castor and Michael Wallace.
Interesting testimony with one remaining question. Will Stacy Castor testify in her own defense?
And if she did testify, was she going to break? Was she going to admit it? Or was she going to keep up that steel exterior of a cold, calculating killer?
So this trial goes on for several weeks. It's Stacy Castor and her attorney have a question you're trying to answer, which is, do they put Stacy Castor on the stand?
In high-profile cases, you don't see defendants taking the stand. Look at O.J. Simpson, Scott Peterson. It didn't happen. When you're on the stand and you are being torpedoed with one question after the next, you come across as a liar.
Final decision wasn't made until the night before, literally.
Would they put her on the stand?
Judge, we have one more witness, and it's called Stacy Castor.
All right. Ultimately, they did.
It's how we swear to tell the truth and no truth is about the case of humanity.
I wanted to talk about Michael Wallace first, because Michael Wallace was her true love. Did you love Michael?
With all my heart, I still do.
Well, Stacy, did you kill Michael?
No, I did not. You had Keller. I simply tried to get the jury to get to know her, to get to like her.
Eventually, Stacy and I get to what everybody wants us to get to, which is that weekend that Ashley is, taken to the hospital.
I heard Bree scream, "Mommy, there's something wrong with Sissy." I got up and went into Ashley's bedroom. I called her name. I tried to shake her, and she didn't give any response. I immediately went to get the phone to call 911.
What were you thinking at that point?
That was probably one of the most devastating moments of my life. She was so calm. She didn't break down in hysterics. In fact, I could see her slowly reeling in the jury.
So Chuck lays out his whole case with Stacy and then comes to the very end and has to answer the critical question. Did you kill David Castor by poisoning him with animals?
No, I did not.
Did you try to murder your daughter and try to frame her for the murders of David Castor and Michael
She told us I could not do it, and I think they put her on that stand to give the same kind of performance, which was complete denial.
The next morning, it was Bill Fitzpatrick's turn to cross-examine Stacy Castor.
Tell the jury what it is that Ashley had the opportunity to poison David Castor.
She was home alone with him on Friday afternoon. There was opportunity for her to do it.
Fitzpatrick's cross is aggressive.
No. Answer my question and be specific.
Fitzpatrick clearly made a decision that the way to go after Stacy Castor is to talk to her as if she's a murderer
You don't remember saying that?
who tried to frame and kill her own daughter.
Did Ashley poison him?
I did not poison her.
When did Ashley poison him?
I can't answer that question.
Then a critical moment in the trial. Fitzpatrick focuses on a wiretap of Stacy Castor's phone calls.
As I'm listening to it, you begin to hear the clicking of a keyboard. Click. She's writing a suicide note. Right then, while talking to her friend,
When we forensically examined the computer from the house, it corresponded perfectly with the time that the phone call was being made, and Ashley was not in the house at the time.
you're taking the suicide note to frame your daughter's words.
Objection, Judge.
And we caught you, didn't we, Mrs. Castor?
Their investigators through forensics were able to go back into that computer and to find not only the draft of the letter, but who practice was. They were making the case that Stacy Castor methodically worked on that letter more than once before she finally printed it and put it on that bed next to her daughter. Through all of this, Stacy Castor is showing no emotion. And then Prosecutor Fitzpatrick explodes.
My God, you lost two husbands to poisoning. Your daughter has just learned that her father was dug out of his grave.
I mean, there are some who say, well, he was theatrical. There are others who say he was outraged that he was sharing that courtroom with a diabolical killer.
My God, is this the
Objection, Judge. I'm just jumping up. Objection. Hallelujah. Despite him raising his voice
Yes or no?
and making ultimate accusations, Stacy Castor remains cool, calm, collected. The question is going to be, does that make her seem more guilty or less guilty?
The case is now in the hands of the jury in the Stacy Castor murder trial.
It's now up to them to determine if they've seen enough evidence.
1 day goes by. 2 days go by.
What possibly could be in the jury's mind that why couldn't they come up with a verdict within an hour?
As more time goes by, the more anxious you're getting. Finally, you get that call that the jury's got a verdict. The people in the state of New York versus Stacy R. Castor asked count number 1, murder in the second degree. What is the verdict?
For the last 4 days, jurors pored over the evidence in the case, and they must decide whether the Central New York woman poisoned her second husband and also attempted to kill her oldest daughter and frame her for the crime.
I was thinking, how can it take this long? All the facts are there. As more time's going by, the more anxious you're getting. Finally, you get that call that the jury's got a verdict. Slow down, go over. The walk over is just like every footstep. You just think, what is it? What do we do if it's good? What do we do if it's bad? You don't even want to think about it.
Several of us, detectives, supervisors, just left the building, ran over to the courthouse.
I stood standing in the hallway, and someone had said we had a verdict, and she just dropped her knees on the ground.
The courtroom is packed. It is standing room.
Here comes the jury. They look at you. They not look at you. Look at Stacy. What does that mean? Just worried they're going to get this wrong. There's a possibility that they get this wrong. We're assembly. I can't hear note that the jury's reached a verdict. Yes, to count number one, murder in the second degree. What is the verdict?
Guilty of murder in the second degree for the death of David Castor.
Count two, attempted murder in the second degree. What's the verdict?
Guilty of attempting to kill Castor Wallace.
What you heard? Guilty.
It can't be happening. It's gotta be wrong. I didn't think so long. I just sat there and waited for it to be done and waited for it. Honestly, that was the best day of my life. Because I knew that people knew that I didn't do it.
It was sad to see her leave that way. I didn't feel bad for her because I was happy that they said that she was guilty because we all knew that she was guilty.
Actually, three were out there. You had the family of Michael Wallace.
And I believed that my brother was there by the other side.
David Jr. was out there.
Matt was there for some related day.
When you think about it, Mike was ruled the heart there. David was initially ruled a suicide. She came pretty close to getting away with it.
In the end, I disagree with the verdict. You think the whole jury, agrees with you, but in the end, system is sometimes the jury doesn't.
When you poured your blood, sweat, and tears into it for all those years, it's a sense of relief, but it's also like a, yeah, we got it. But what point you were at sentencing?
Okay. Well, bye for now.